So hi everyone, and welcome to another coffee break on this beautiful April morning. I am so excited to be sharing with you today a resource for the elementary, and Paul will be sharing a resource for the secondary level to promote digital competency alongside of your subject-specific competencies in social sciences. So today I wanted to share with you a really fun activity. It's a cartograph scenario, and it was created by Sophie, who was a consultant at Lester B. Pearson School Board. The activity is called the Nationalization of Electricity. And again, it is a cartograph scenario, which is a mapping software that Learn hosts, which Paul could tell you all about. But it's a wonderful way to have students visualize where specific locations are on the map. And in this specific activity, students are learning about electricity. So they're going to explore the hydro dams in EU Nunavik territory. So in this activity, students are practicing, again, identifying communities that were affected by the electrification of Quebec. And it is connected to the Quebec Society around 1980. You could also connect it to teachings about the James Bay Northern Agreement if you're doing Inuit around 1980 as well. And this is designed for cycle 3. And the whole activity can be completed directly in Cartograf software. You could also kind of adapt the materials if you wanted to use Google My Map, but given that everything's already in Cartograf, I really encourage you to check out that software. That is free. So I will open up the activity on Cartograf for you. The link is here in the slideshow for today's coffee break. You'll see here information about the scenario. So there's 3 tasks where students are establishing facts and situating locations in space on the map. And then they have to do a little research project about a different dam site in the province of Quebec. So if I click here to open up the map scenario, you'll see a bit about the Cartograf interface. So we'll see here a map. You'll see here there's one point on my map, so I can zoom in here. And when I click on these points that are already embedded in the map, I can get information. So here we see La Garand Dam and James Bay, and you can see that Sophie has included some resources for students to read about the impacts of this dam. And then they could add their own point to the map and add their learning and their resources based on the research that they complete. Now, this activity, if you click here on the description, it gives you all the instructions on how to complete the activity. So you'll see it starts off really with a step 1 where they're establishing facts by viewing some of the CBC videos. So it's great in terms of UDL that she's included text and visuals or multimodal productions for students. And then again, they have to do the research and add their own points on the map. So really encourage you to check this out. It's a really fun activity. One thing that I love the most about Cartograf is that you can actually switch between views. So you can encourage your students to actually see what things look like in real time. So they could, or not real time, yeah, I guess. So they can go zoom in and they can see what it really looks like in real life. So you can see the dam there. So very interesting. Now, I do want to highlight that Sophie also created a kind of guide to help teachers create their own Cartograf scenarios. So I've included the link here. You can find it at any time using the teachers button on the top menu of Cartograf. And you'll see here that she's included some guides with essential elements for a scenario, and the guide is available in French and English. So you can read it in the language of your choosing. So thank you, Sophie, for allowing us to share those with our community members. And I did also finally, because today is our last session on mapping and outdoor education for our coffee breaks, I did want to mention that Paul Rambo, maybe not going to mention it, but he's doing an amazing webinar on May 14th, all about mapping. So I encourage you to check it out. And as a tidbit, you might find that this nationalization of electricity activity might just be mentioned in that webinar. And even if you can't attend live, why not register so you can get the recording of all that information? So that's it for today. And Paul, I'll pass it off to you for our secondary resource.
Hello, and thanks again, Stacy, for that great elementary share. Um, I'm Paul Rombo, as has been mentioned, social sciences consultant at Learn, and I'm here again to show another mapping scenario. Actually, a few scenarios. Kind of a special situation. One because parts of this were created with AI, generated with AI, and also because we have a webinar coming up where I'll feature this and what Stacy mentioned, and a few other strategies for using maps in various subjects. So, what I wanted to show you today was uh, some examples, plural, of cartograph scenarios for a specific resource that had already been created. So this was an LES on imperialism that I had created last year or the year before for secondary cycle one. And what I did was I actually used AI to scan the whole contents of the folder, the three workbooks, to look for ways I could use mapping technologies like Cartograph in the activities. I mean, I could have done this on my own, but I thought it was an interesting test to see what it would give me and how it might have helped me. So you could imagine you're doing it with your own activities. Why do mapping technologies at all? They help students visualize things. And in this case, the political realities, the where the boundaries were very important in imperialist Africa, and also relationships with different peoples, not just the colonizers but also different peoples throughout that were already there and that continue to be there, economic relationships and so on. Again, secondary cycle one students, but since this is already a full LES and there's lots of activities involved, it could also just be used for teachers to display these locations. And so I'll show you what I got here. So this is actually on Cartograph on the home page in the history section, collection of mapping scenarios. And basically, what it did was the AI, it scanned the different workbooks and found some ideas. So the Berlin Conference is mentioned in different peoples that were already existing in Africa at the time of the Berlin Conference. And what it did was it actually found different peoples that were mentioned throughout the different texts. So I added students can use this to find 10 or 5 to 10 groups, or they could just use the list below if they wanted to do a mapping scenario. So I'll just open that to where in the workbook it got it from. So I'm actually going to search one to find where it was mentioned. So you can see that this people was mentioned here in this section about cash crops versus food crops. So by mapping their location, give students a context. I actually also realized this is not just in workbook two. Some of these people were mentioned in different workbooks, so I actually need to change this because it was throughout. But the idea of mapping peoples that existing there is a good one. Um, Also, zones of exploration. You can see that it suggests for workbook one, which does mention different things that were brought out of Africa, that you students could be tasked with mapping those zones where those products were produced. Um, and also workbook two talks about different struggles for independence. And this is where various different countries are mentioned, but it's hard to picture where they are, but also where they are in terms of which country was controlling that area. So that could be a mapping activity. And the final task in this particular LES is actually to examine a country that was colonized and their connections to Canada. So there are various links to some sources for that. And of course, if you're investigating the Somalian people in Canada, like this one suggests, you'd want to know where Somalia was and where the organization is centered in Canada, and then you can talk about what happened to them in the 20th and 21st century even. So that's basically my share. It's an idea that you can do mapping exercises in pretty much any activity, and sometimes they are embedded, sometimes they're not. So you could actually run an AI through it and ask for suggestions for what you could be using a mapping technology for. Or as I said before, teachers could simply use the Cartograf map to display these locations as they go. So that's my share. I'm going to be doing a webinar on May 14th on mostly Cartograf, but also just mapping in general and how you can use it in various subjects, not just history and geography. So that's our coffee break session for today, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.